It's easy to point fingers at soda, candy, and desserts when we think about added sugar. But what if the biggest contributors to your sugar intake were hiding in plain sight, dressed up as everyday essentials or even health foods? That's the tricky truth behind what we call silent sugar, the kind of added sugar that sneaks into your body through foods you wouldn't expect. This type of sugar is stealthy, often buried in ingredient lists under unfamiliar names, and is particularly dangerous because it flies under the radar of even the most health-conscious eaters. One of the most surprising culprits? Bread. That's right, your seemingly innocent morning toast or lunchtime sandwich might be spiking your sugar intake without you even realizing it. Many commercial breads, especially the soft sandwich loaves marketed as whole grain or honey wheat, contain added sugars like high fructose corn syrup, molasses, or even plain white sugar to enhance flavor and texture. Just 2 slices can sometimes deliver more than a teaspoon of added sugar. And it's not just white bread. Multigrain, oat, and even sourdough varieties can be sweetened to make them more palatable or to preserve freshness longer on store shelves. Considering how often bread appears in our diets, from toast to burgers to paninis, these seemingly minor amounts can add up fast. Then there are sauces, one of the biggest offenders in the silent sugar game. Ketchup, for example, is often about 1/4 sugar by weight. Barbecue sauce can contain even more, sometimes up to 2 teaspoons of sugar per tablespoon. And pasta sauces, despite being tomato-based, are often loaded with added sugar to balance acidity or enhance flavor, especially in cheaper brands or those aimed at children. Stir-fry sauces, marinades, and even salad dressings can carry a sugary punch. It's the perfect disguise, savory flavors masking the sweet trap. You think you're having a healthy grilled chicken salad, but if you're using a bottle dressing, you might be pouring on sugar without even tasting it. But perhaps one of the most deceptive categories is what we often consider healthy snacks, such as granola or granola bars. The branding usually screams wellness, earth-tone packaging, words like natural or protein-packed, and ingredients that sound virtuous like oats, seeds, and nuts. But many of these products are sweetened with multiple sources of added sugar: honey, agave, cane syrup, brown rice syrup, or fruit juice concentrates. A single serving of some popular granolas can contain more added sugar than a glazed donut. And the serving sizes are often misleadingly small. Most people pour far more into their bowl than the tiny quarter-cup serving on the label. Granola bars are no better. While they're marketed as quick energy or post-workout fuel, many are closer to candy bars in disguise, coated in chocolate, yogurt, or caramel with multiple sugar sources baked right in. Frozen meals may seem like a convenient way to keep calories in check and portions controlled, but many are sweetened more than you'd expect. This is especially true for meals with sauces, Asian stir-fries, sweet and sour chicken, teriyaki bowls, and even some savory Italian pastas. Manufacturers add sugar not just for taste, but also to preserve texture and improve the color of the meal after freezing and reheating. You might think you're choosing a savory meal, but you're actually ingesting the sugar content of a dessert. Even seemingly benign frozen veggies with sauce, like carrots with glaze or corn with butter sauce, often contain added sugars that make them taste more appealing to a broad market. And let's not forget flavored yogurts, smoothies, and health drinks. While these will be covered in more detail later, it's important to know that the sugar game doesn't stop with solids. Many beverages marketed as good for digestion, immunity, or energy contain added sweeteners that mimic healthfulness while undermining it. Silent sugar is more than just a food label issue, it's a public health challenge. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams 6 teaspoons of added sugar per day for women and 36 grams 9 teaspoons for men. But with so many hidden sources, most people blow past these limits before they've even reached lunchtime. And the consequences aren't just weight gain. Excess sugar consumption has been linked to increased risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver, and even cognitive decline. The real danger of silent sugar is that it doesn't trigger alarm bells. You don't taste it the way you do in a can of soda, and you don't associate it with indulgence. It's hidden in the everyday, your sandwich, your salad, your healthy snack. That's why learning where it hides is the first and most important step to cutting it back. Because the truth is, it's not about eliminating all sugar from your life. It's about reclaiming control over how much of it you're actually eating. And for that, awareness is the first line of defense. Once you understand where silent sugar hides, the next step is learning how to spot it. This isn't as easy as it sounds. Food labels can be misleading, ingredient names are often masked, and marketing terms like low-fat, natural, or wholesome can trick even savvy shoppers. Start with the ingredients list. Sugar goes by many names, over 50, in fact. These include high-fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, dextrose, maltose, barley malt, agave nectar, fruit juice concentrates, brown rice syrup, and molasses. If any of these appear in the top 5 ingredients, that's a red flag. Some products contain multiple types of sugar in small amounts, which are spread across the label to avoid having one single sugar type dominate the list. This tactic helps manufacturers make the product look less sweet than it actually is. Another critical point is the added sugars line on the nutrition label. In the US, this became a mandatory part of labeling in recent years and can be a powerful tool. Look not just at total sugars, which includes naturally occurring sugars like those in fruit or milk, but at added sugars specifically. A flavored yogurt, for instance, might contain 20 grams of sugar, but 14 of those could be added sugars. That's more than half of the daily recommended limit in one small serving. Next, consider the serving size. This is one of the most manipulative tricks in processed food packaging. A small bottle of iced tea might look like a single serving, but the label might define it as 2 servings. So the 16 grams of added sugar you see on the back is actually 32 if you drink the whole thing. Chips, cereals, granolas, sauces, and even soups often play this game. Reading labels carefully and doing the mental math is essential if you want to stay aware of your intake. Then there's the myth of healthy sugars. Marketers know that health-conscious consumers are suspicious of plain old sugar, so they dress it up with more natural-sounding alternatives. Honey, coconut sugar, maple syrup, date syrup. These all seem like better choices, and they do contain trace nutrients compared to refined sugar. But your body largely processes them the same way. Sugar is sugar when it comes to blood glucose spikes and long-term health risks. Don't be fooled by the source. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's harmless. A granola bar made with honey and coconut sugar can still deliver as much added sugar as a candy bar made with high-fructose corn syrup. Smoothie shops and juice bars are another example of where health halos hide sugar bombs. A smoothie with bananas, almond milk, berries, and spinach sounds great until they toss in flavored yogurt, honey, or sweetened protein powder. Many 16-ounce smoothies contain 40 to 60 grams of sugar, far surpassing the daily limit. Even if some of this is from fruit, it's often blended with added sugars that push the total into unhealthy territory. When in doubt, ask for ingredients or request unsweetened versions. For those who rely on frozen foods, especially so-called lean meals or fit bowls, take an extra moment to examine the sauce ingredients and sugar line on the label. These meals often aim to balance low fat with flavor. Sugar becomes the flavor crutch. Teriyaki bowls, orange chicken, tikka masala, and even low-calorie pasta dishes might sneak in 10 to 20 grams of sugar per serving. Considering these are supposed to be diet-friendly meals, that's a surprisingly high sugar load. Restaurant food can be just as tricky. Chain restaurants in particular use sugar to ensure consistency and shelf stability. Glazes, marinades, dips, and side dishes like coleslaw or sweetened corn are often sugar-enhanced. Salads aren't safe either. Glazed nuts, sweet vinaigrettes, candied bacon, dried cranberries, and honey-roasted seeds can turn a bowl of greens into a dessert in disguise. The key to protecting yourself is not about becoming paranoid or giving up every convenience food. Instead, it's about shifting your approach from passive to active. Instead of accepting what's handed to you, you investigate. You ask questions. You look beyond the front of package buzzwords and turn to the back, to the fine print that tells the real story. This mindset of awareness, of control, is what can gradually reduce your sugar intake without making you feel restricted or deprived. Because once you know the tricks, you're no longer the target. You become a smarter shopper, a more informed eater, and ultimately, a healthier person. Reducing your intake of silent sugar doesn't mean you have to give up flavor or satisfaction. In fact, the transition away from hidden sugars can be surprisingly empowering once you learn to rely on your taste buds rather than sugar-enhanced crutches. It starts by focusing on whole, unprocessed foods, items that don't come with a nutrition label or ingredient list. Vegetables, legumes, fresh fruit, whole grains, eggs, nuts, seeds, and unprocessed meats are inherently free of added sugar. When these become the center of your meals, you naturally reduce your exposure to stealth sweeteners. Bread, for instance, can be swapped for homemade or artisan varieties with no added sugar. Look for sourdough or sprouted grain loaves made with minimal ingredients. Better yet, Explore baking your own. Many simple recipes use only flour, water, yeast, and salt. It's an easy way to reclaim control over what goes into your food. When it comes to sauces, the solution isn't to go flavorless, but to get creative. You can make your own dressings and condiments using ingredients like olive oil, vinegar, mustard, garlic, lemon juice, and herbs. A homemade vinaigrette or salsa often tastes fresher and more vibrant than a bottled version, and you know exactly what's in it. If you're craving ketchup or barbecue sauce, try low-sugar recipes that use tomato paste, spices, and a touch of natural sweetness from dates or balsamic vinegar rather than dumping in tablespoons of sugar. Store-bought versions with low or no added sugar are becoming more common too, especially in health-focused grocery stores. As for granola and snack bars, this is a category where DIY can really shine. Making your own granola with rolled oats, cinnamon, nuts, seeds, and just a bit of mashed banana or unsweetened applesauce gives you full control. You'll likely find you need far less sweetener than you thought to make it enjoyable. Dates and raisins add sweetness while contributing fiber, and you can avoid the sugar bombs hidden in store-bought varieties. For energy bars, blending nuts, seeds, oats, and dried fruits at home can yield satisfying snacks that don't rely on syrups or added sugars. Don't fall for the idea that only pre-packaged snacks are convenient. A boiled egg, some apple slices with nut butter, a handful of almonds, or carrot sticks with hummus take just seconds to prepare and contain zero added sugar. These foods also deliver protein and fiber, helping to stabilize blood sugar and keep you full longer, something sugary snacks simply can't do. When navigating frozen meals, take time to vet your choices. Look for brands that prioritize clean ingredients and don't load their meals with sugar as a shortcut to flavor. Better yet, consider batch cooking on weekends. Prepare meals like stir-fries, soups, or grain bowls in large quantities and freeze individual portions. You'll have fast, nourishing meals on hand without relying on factory-made frozen options filled with additives. Over time, you'll find that your taste preferences start to change. This is one of the most powerful effects of reducing hidden sugar. Your palate becomes more sensitive. What once tasted bland now tastes nuanced. You begin to enjoy the natural sweetness of roasted vegetables, the tartness of fresh berries, and the richness of real chocolate without needing it drowned in syrup. Even coffee and tea can be retrained. If you currently sweeten them, gradually reduce the amount of sugar or switch to unsweetened plant-based milk. Within weeks, many people find they no longer crave the added sweetness. Another important piece of the puzzle is mindfulness. Being aware of why you're reaching for certain foods can uncover deeper habits. Are you using sweetened yogurt as a comfort food? Do you rely on sugary sauces to mask stress or boredom? Recognizing these patterns gives you the power to replace them with healthier routines. Maybe it's herbal tea in the evening instead of dessert. Maybe it's journaling or walking instead of stress snacking. Behavior change starts with awareness. Finally, don't underestimate the power of gradual improvement. Cutting out all sugar overnight isn't sustainable for most people and can lead to frustration or relapse. Instead, aim to replace one high-sugar habit at a time. Maybe you switch your breakfast granola to oats with fruit. Maybe you stop buying bottled dressings. Each small change chips away at your dependence on sugar and builds long-term health. You're not just avoiding disease, you're gaining energy, better focus, more stable moods, and a stronger connection to your own body. In a world full of processed convenience and sweetened everything, choosing awareness is a radical act of self-care. Awareness is the first step, but consistency is what truly transforms your health. Once you've identified and begun eliminating silent sugar from your diet, the challenge becomes maintaining this new standard in everyday life, through busy mornings, social gatherings, grocery runs, and even restaurant meals. The good news is that once your body and taste buds adjust, the process becomes more intuitive. But like any lifestyle change, it requires strategy and mindfulness. One key approach is meal planning. This doesn't mean prepping 7 days of meals in glass containers, though that works for some. It simply means thinking ahead. If you know your schedule is tight during the week, make a point to prep a few staples in advance: a pot of brown rice, roasted vegetables, hard-boiled eggs, a jar of homemade dressing, or a sugar-free tomato sauce. These building blocks let you assemble balanced, sugar-free meals in minutes and reduce your temptation to reach for takeout or prepackaged foods. Another important strategy is learning to ask the right questions when eating out. Restaurants rarely list added sugar on the menu, but you can ask your server how the food is prepared. Ask if the sauces are sweetened, if salad dressings are made in-house, or if glazes and marinades contain sugar. In many cases, chefs can leave the sauce off or serve it on the side. Choosing simple dishes, grilled proteins, steamed vegetables, olive oil-based dressings can help you stick to your low-sugar goals. If dessert is part of the occasion, consider fresh fruit, dark chocolate, or even a shared portion to minimize impact while still enjoying the moment. Grocery shopping becomes much easier with a consistent plan. Stick to the perimeter of the store, where the whole foods live: fresh produce, dairy, meat, and bulk grains. Limit your time in the middle aisles where processed and packaged foods dominate. And always bring a list. It helps keep you focused and less likely to be swayed by marketing tricks like low-fat, light, or all-natural terms which often mask the presence of added sugar. Another powerful tool is cooking literacy. The more confident you are in the kitchen, the less dependent you'll be on ready-made meals that hide sugar. Basic cooking skills, sautéing vegetables, baking chicken, assembling a grain bowl, allow you to whip up satisfying, flavorful meals in less time than it takes to heat a frozen entree. Over time, your go-to recipes will evolve to suit your new palate, and you may find yourself craving the freshness and balance that only whole foods deliver. Don't forget beverages, one of the most common sources of hidden sugar. While soda and sweet tea are obvious offenders, many energy drinks, flavored waters, bottled coffees, and even plant-based milks contain significant added sugar. Always check the label and choose unsweetened versions when possible. If water feels boring, flavor it with lemon, mint, cucumber, or a splash of 100% juice. Herbal teas and sparkling water also offer variety without added sugars. Even alcohol deserves scrutiny. Cocktails often contain syrups, liqueurs, or sweet mixers. Opt for wine, light beer, or simple spirits with soda water and citrus to stay in control. Staying motivated also involves understanding the long-term benefits of reducing hidden sugars. This isn't just about avoiding diabetes or losing a few pounds, although those are valid outcomes. It's about energy, mood stability, mental clarity, immune support, fewer sugar crashes, and more productive afternoons. Less inflammation, better sleep, healthier skin. Over time, the small daily decisions you make add up to powerful improvements in your overall well-being. And the best part is, you don't have to aim for perfection. Life includes birthdays, holidays, late nights, and emotional cravings. What matters is the pattern, not the exception. A single frosted cupcake doesn't undo a week of healthy choices. It's the habitual, mindless sugar that does damage, not the occasional, mindful indulgence. By making sugar something you consciously choose, not something that slips in through the cracks, you put yourself back in control. You reclaim your plate and your health. Ultimately, the goal isn't fear of sugar, it's freedom from it. Silent sugar thrives on your inattention, but once you start reading labels, asking questions, and trusting your own taste, it loses its grip. You become your own best advocate. And that awareness is something no marketing campaign, convenience aisle, or artificial sweetener can replace. Your body will thank you, not just today, but for years to come.